Welcome to the course. I'm so glad you've decided to join us today. This is a wonderful opportunity to deepen your understanding of the English language. As we move through the slides, I encourage you to follow along carefully, take notes on the important points, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to review the content as often as you need. Today, we will focus on combining pronouns with the forms of the verb to be. This is a crucial aspect of mastering English, as to be is the most important verb in the language. By the end of this course, you will have the confidence to construct complete sentences effortlessly. Imagine being able to say things like, I am a teacher, or they are friends, without hesitation. Throughout our journey, you will learn how to use personal pronouns effectively, how to form affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences, and even how to use contractions, just like a native speaker. Expect to gain valuable insights and practical skills that you can apply in your everyday conversations. Remember, every small step you take today brings you closer to fluency. So, let's get started and unlock the power of English together. You're going to do great. Continuing our course, let's dive into why mastering the verb to be is so essential. As we just learned, to be is the only verb in English that changes form depending on the pronoun used. This makes it unique and incredibly important for constructing sentences. Think about it. When we say I am or she is, we're using to be to convey identity and location. This verb helps us express who we are, what we do, and where we are. It's the backbone of basic conversations. If you can master to be, you'll find that you can communicate effectively in many everyday situations. Now, here's something interesting to observe. Around 90% of the basic sentences you will encounter in English rely on this verb. That means if you become comfortable with affirmative, negative, and interrogative forms of to be, you're well on your way to having meaningful conversations right from the start. Also, let's not forget about contractions. Using shortened forms like I'm instead of I am helps you sound more like a native speaker. It's a natural part of everyday speech. So, as we transition to the next slide, keep in mind that mastering to be not only helps you form sentences, but also boosts your confidence in speaking. Soon, we will explore personal pronouns in detail, which will further enhance your ability to use to be correctly and effectively. Are you ready to take that next step? Let's go. Now that we have a solid understanding of why the verb to be is so important, let's move forward in our journey by focusing on personal pronouns. Personal pronouns are the key to identifying who is speaking, who is being spoken to, and who or what is being discussed. In English, there are 7 fundamental personal pronouns that you need to know. First, we have I, which means EU in Portuguese. Notice that I is always capitalized in English, regardless of where it appears in a sentence. This simple rule helps you express your identity clearly. Next, we have you, which can mean either você or vocês. It can refer to one person or multiple people, making it very versatile in conversation. Then there are he or she and it. These are used for the third person singular. He means ele, she means ela, and it is used for objects or animals when their gender is unknown. This distinction is crucial, as it helps you provide clarity in your sentences. Finally, we have we and they. We translates to nós, and they means eles. These pronouns are used to talk about groups, allowing you to express collective ideas or actions. Understanding these pronouns is essential because they work hand in hand with the verb to be. For example, when you say, I am happy, you are combining the pronoun I with to be to express your feelings. As we proceed to the next slide, we'll explore how combining these pronouns with the different forms of to be creates meaningful sentences. So keep these pronouns in mind and think about how you might use them in your own conversations. This is an exciting step towards fluency. Moving forward in our journey, let's explore the impact of combining pronouns with the verb to be. Each time you pair a pronoun with to be, you create a complete sentence. This combination not only helps you express a clear thought, but also avoids repetition and confusion about the subject of your sentence. For instance, when you say, "She is a doctor," you're using the pronoun she with to be to convey a complete idea. Notice how this simple structure makes communication more effective. Instead of saying, "The doctor is she," which can sound awkward and confusing, saying, "She is a doctor," is straightforward and clear. This is the beauty of combining pronouns with to be. Think about how often we use these combinations in daily conversations. When you introduce yourself, you might say, "I am a student." This sentence clearly identifies who you are. Similarly, if you want to talk about your friends, you could say, "They are musicians." This simple structure is the foundation of nearly all communication in English. It's interesting to observe that mastering these combinations can significantly boost your confidence in speaking. You'll find yourself forming sentences effortlessly, making it easier to engage in conversations. As we continue, we will dive deeper into the affirmative form of to be, where you'll learn how to construct these sentences in the present tense. So, keep your personal pronouns in mind and get ready to see how they translate into affirmative sentences with to be. Let's keep building on this essential skill. Continuing our course, let's delve into the affirmative form of to be in the present tense. This is where we start creating full sentences that express clear ideas about ourselves and others. Remember the personal pronouns we just discussed? They play a vital role here. When we use I am, we're stating something about ourselves. Like, "I am a teacher." This sentence not only tells us about the speaker's profession, but also establishes identity. Now, think about how you might introduce yourself in a similar way. It's a simple yet powerful structure. Next, we have you are. This is an interesting form because it can refer to one person or many. For example, you might say, "You are my student." Here, you're addressing someone directly, making it personal and engaging. Then we move to he, she, and it, which is where is comes into play. For instance, "She is at home" gives us information about someone's location. Notice how the use of is helps us focus on a singular subject. This distinction is crucial for clarity. Lastly, we have we and they, which use the form are. For example, "They are friends." This simple sentence reveals a connection between people, showing how we can express relationships in English. Here's a golden rule to remember. Am is only used with I, is for singular subjects, and are is for plural subjects, and you. Keeping this in mind will help you construct sentences effectively. As we look ahead to the next slide, we will explore how to form negative sentences using to be. This is another essential part of our learning journey, allowing you to express what isn't true or what you don't want to say. So, let's get ready to expand our understanding even further. Now that we've established how to form affirmative sentences with the verb to be, let's continue our journey by exploring how to express the negative form. This is essential for communicating what is not true or what we want to deny. The structure for forming negative sentences is quite simple. You start with the pronoun, followed by to be, and then add not. For example, if you want to say that you are not a teacher, you would say, "I am not a teacher." Notice how this construction clearly indicates that you are denying that particular identity. Let's break it down a bit further. When we say, "I am not," it becomes, "I'm not." This contraction is commonly used in everyday conversation. Similarly, "you are not" can be shortened to "you aren't." Both forms make your speech sound more natural and fluent. Now, when we look at third-person examples, "he is not" or "she is not" can be contracted to "he isn't" or "she isn't." This helps keep your sentences smooth and easy to understand. For instance, if you want to say that someone is not at home, you might say, "He isn't at home." Let's also consider plural forms. When we say we are not, it becomes we aren't. So, if you want to describe a group of people, you might say, we aren't nurses. This simple yet effective structure allows you to convey important information about identity and roles in a clear manner. As we move forward, think about how you can use these negative forms in your conversations. They are just as important as the affirmative forms, especially when you need to clarify or deny something. Next, we'll dive into how to ask questions using to be, which will further enhance your conversational skills. So get ready to flip the structure around and explore the interrogative form. Now that we've learned how to form both affirmative and negative sentences with the verb to be, let's continue our journey by exploring how to ask questions. This is crucial because asking questions is a fundamental part of communication. To form a question with to be, you simply invert the order of the subject and the verb. This means placing to be before the pronoun. For example, instead of saying, "You are my classmate," to ask if someone is your classmate, you would say, "Are you my classmate?" Notice how this change in structure transforms a statement into a question, inviting a response. Let's look at some more examples. If you want to check if someone is late, you would say, "Am I late?" Here, the word am comes first, followed by the pronoun I. It's interesting to see how this simple switch makes it clear that you are seeking confirmation. When referring to he, she, or it, you would say, "Is she a doctor?" This structure is effective because it allows you to inquire about someone's profession or identity without any confusion. Similarly, for plural subjects, you might ask, "Are they ready?" This is a great way to check if a group is prepared for something, making your communication more effective. As we think about these structures, consider how often you use questions in everyday conversation. They serve not only to gather information, but also to engage others in dialogue. In the upcoming slides, we will examine contractions, which are commonly used in spoken English and can help you sound more like a native speaker. So keep practicing these question forms and get ready to learn how to simplify your speech with contractions. Moving forward in our journey, we now come to a very important topic: contractions. These are essential for sounding more natural in everyday conversations. You see, mastering contractions can truly set you apart from someone who is just learning the language, helping you become a fluent communicator. When we speak English, we often combine words to make our speech smoother and quicker. For example, instead of saying, "I am," we typically say, "I'm." Notice how this contraction makes the phrase flow better, almost like a native speaker. Similarly, "you are" becomes "you're," and "he is" turns into "he's." These small changes not only make speech easier, but also more engaging. Think about it. When you listen to people talking in English, you probably notice they use contractions all the time. It's interesting to observe that using contractions can make you sound more friendly and approachable. For instance, if you say, "He's my friend," instead of "He is my friend," it creates a more casual and inviting tone. Now, let's look at a few more examples. "We are" becomes "we're," and "they are" turns into "they're." These contractions are particularly useful when you're discussing groups of people or multiple subjects. Imagine you're at a party and you want to say, "They are excited." Instead, you could say, "They're excited," which sounds much more natural in conversation. As we prepare for the next slides, think about how you can incorporate these contractions into your own speaking practice. In the upcoming sections, we will discuss when to use these contractions in affirmative statements, which will further enhance your fluency. So, let's keep practicing and have fun with it. Continuing our course, let's delve deeper into contractions and explore when to use them, especially in affirmative statements. We just touched on how contractions make our speech sound more natural, and now we'll learn how to apply them effectively in different contexts. When you're speaking informally, using contractions is not just common, it's expected. For instance, instead of saying, "I am" in a casual conversation, you would say, I'm. This simple change makes your communication flow better and sounds friendlier. Likewise, you are becomes your, and he is, she is, or it is can all be contracted to he's, she's, or its. Notice how these contractions help keep the conversation light and engaging. Now, let's consider the plural forms. We are turns into we're, and they are becomes their. Imagine chatting with friends about a movie. You might say, they're excited to watch it. This feels much more conversational than saying, they are excited to watch it. However, remember that in formal writing or professional settings, it's generally better to use the full forms. For example, in an essay or a business report, you would want to say, I am instead of I'm. This ensures clarity and maintains a professional tone. In the negative forms, contractions are equally useful. I am not becomes I'm not, and you are not is shortened to you aren't. Consider how you might use these in everyday scenarios. Instead of saying, he is not available, you would say he isn't available, which sounds more natural in conversation. As we move forward, think about how often you use contractions in your daily conversations. This will prepare you for practical exercises in the next slides, where you'll have the chance to practice both affirmative and negative forms using contractions. Keep practicing, and let's continue to refine your speaking skills. Now that we've discussed contractions and how they can enhance our fluency, let's move forward in our journey by addressing some common errors that learners often make. Recognizing these mistakes is crucial because it helps prevent misunderstandings and improves your overall communication skills. For instance, one frequent error is using your instead of your. When someone asks, "You're ready?" it's incorrect because your is a possessive pronoun, while your is a contraction for you are. The correct form is, "You're ready?" This small mistake can change the meaning of your sentence, so it's vital to pay attention to these details. Another common mix-up occurs with third-person singular pronouns. You might hear someone say, "He are my friend." This is incorrect because are cannot be used with third-person singular subjects like he. The correct forms are, "He is my friend," or, in a more conversational tone, "He's my friend." Notice how using the right verb form clarifies your statement and makes it sound more natural. Additionally, let's not forget about the confusion between it's and its. When someone says, "It's cold today," they're using it's, which is a possessive form. The correct phrase should be, "It's cold today," where it's stands for it is. This distinction is important, as using the wrong form can lead to confusion about what you mean. As we continue, keep these common errors in mind. They are easy to overlook, but can significantly impact how you communicate. In the next slides, we will explore practical examples that will help you avoid these mistakes. So, let's stay focused and prepare to practice what we've learned. Moving forward in our journey, let's look at a real-life example that highlights the importance of the adjustments we've discussed. In everyday communication, small changes can make a big difference in clarity and understanding. Imagine a conversation between Maria and João during their English class. Maria says, "I am not tired," which is perfectly correct, but it can sound more natural when she says, "I'm not tired." Notice how this simple contraction makes her statement flow better and sound more conversational. It's a small tweak, but it enhances her communication significantly. Now, let's consider João's response. He asks, "You're ready for the test?" This is a common mistake because he uses your, which is possessive instead of your, the contraction for you are. The correct question should be, "Are you ready for the test?" This adjustment is crucial because it ensures that João's question is clear and grammatically correct. These examples illustrate how paying attention to contractions and minor grammatical details can elevate everyday conversations. It's interesting to observe how these small adjustments create a smoother dialogue and help convey messages more effectively. As we move ahead, think about how you can apply these lessons in your own conversations. In the next slides, we'll dive into practical exercises that will allow you to practice these forms and solidify your understanding. So let's keep building on what we've learned and enhance our speaking skills together. Now that we've explored real-life examples and the importance of making small adjustments in our conversations, it's time to put your knowledge to the test. This is an exciting opportunity to practice what you've learned about the verb to be in its affirmative, negative, and interrogative forms. Think about how we've discussed the different ways to express yourself. Remember how Maria used "I'm not tired" instead of "I am not tired." That's the kind of fluidity we want to achieve. In our upcoming exercises, you'll get to apply those skills directly. First, we'll start with some phrases where you'll need to rewrite them in the negative and interrogative forms. This will help reinforce your understanding of how to be functions in different contexts. For instance, if you see the phrase, "she is happy," how would you change it to ask if she is happy or to say that she is not? These transformations are key to mastering the language. Next, notice how these exercises not only challenge your recall but also encourage you to think critically about sentence structure. You might ask yourself questions like, "What happens to the meaning when I change the form?" This kind of thinking will deepen your comprehension and make you a more confident speaker. As we move through these exercises, keep in mind the importance of clarity and natural flow in your speech. In the following slides, we will continue to build on this foundation with even more engaging practice. So, let's dive in and start testing your knowledge. Your journey to mastering to be is just getting started. Continuing our course, we now have the opportunity to dive into some practical exercises that will solidify your understanding of the verb to be. These exercises are designed to help you transform affirmative sentences into their negative and interrogative forms. This is a crucial skill for effective communication, as it allows you to express different meanings and ask questions clearly. Let's consider our first example. She is a very good student. How would you change this to the negative form? That's right, it becomes, "She isn't a very good student." Notice how just adding "not" changes the meaning entirely. Now, if we want to ask if she is a good student, we simply turn it into a question. Is she a very good student? This process of transformation helps you see how flexible the verb to be can be in different contexts. Next, we look at the sentence, "Andrew and Tanya are brothers." To make this negative, we say, "Andrew and Tanya aren't brothers." Again, this small change in wording completely flips the meaning. And to ask a question about it, we ask, "Are Andrew and Tanya brothers?" This exercise highlights how changing the structure can clarify whether we're making a statement, negating it, or asking for information. Let's move on to, "He is studying English literature." The negative form would be, "He isn't studying English literature." And the question becomes, "Is he studying English literature?" These transformations are all about clarity, so think about how crucial it is to express yourself accurately. Finally, take "They are walking on the street." In the negative, it is "They aren't walking on the street." And the question form is, "Are they walking on the street?" Each of these examples reinforces the flexibility of to be in conversation. As we tackle these transformations, remember that practicing these exercises will not only enhance your grammatical skills, but also build your confidence in speaking. In the next slide, we will keep this mail. Moving forward in our journey, let's dive into another important exercise that focuses on transforming statements into questions using the verb to be. This skill is essential for effective communication, as asking questions is a fundamental part of any conversation. Think back to what we've just practiced regarding statements and their negative forms. Now, we will take that understanding and apply it to creating questions. This process helps you gain a deeper grasp of how to engage in dialogue and seek information. Let's start with our first example. "I am a teacher." To turn this into a question, we simply rearrange the words to ask, "Am I a teacher?" Notice how the structure changes, but the meaning remains clear. This technique allows you to check understanding or confirm information in a conversation. Next, consider "you are Brazilian." When we want to ask about this, we change it to "Are you Brazilian?" It's interesting to observe that by just shifting the order, you create a question that invites a response, opening up dialogue. Now, let's take "He is at the library." To form a question, we say, "Is he at the library?" This transformation is crucial, especially when you want to know where someone is or what they are doing. Finally, we have "We are friends." The question form becomes, "Are we friends?" This is an excellent example of how asking questions can clarify relationships and foster connection. As you practice these transformations, think about how they help you in real-life situations. Can you see how easily you can turn a statement into a question to engage with others? In our next slide, we'll continue practicing with contractions, which will further enhance your ability to communicate naturally and fluently. So let's keep going and build on what we've learned. Now that we've practiced transforming statements into questions, let's take another step deeper into our understanding of the verb to be by focusing on contractions. This is a fun and practical exercise because using contractions makes your speech sound more natural and fluent, just like native speakers do in everyday conversations. Think about how we've discussed the different forms of to be and how important it is to adapt our language for clarity and ease of communication. For instance, instead of saying, "I am not happy," we can say, "I'm not happy." Notice how this small change can make our speech flow more smoothly. Let's look at some specific examples. If we take the phrase, "You are not tired," it becomes, "You aren't tired." This contraction not only shortens the phrase, but also makes it sound more conversational. It's interesting to observe how these contractions create a natural rhythm in our speech, helping us connect better with our listeners. Now consider, "He is not ready." When we use the contraction, it becomes, "He isn't ready." This is a great way to express the same idea while sounding more approachable. Similarly, "She is not here" can be contracted to "She isn't here," keeping the conversation light and engaging. For plural subjects, we can also use contractions. Instead of saying, "They are not interested," we say, "They aren't interested." This makes our sentences smoother and more fluid, which is especially important in casual conversations. As you practice these contractions, think about how they can improve your speaking skills and help you sound more like a native speaker. In the upcoming slides, we will explore some strategies for memorizing these forms and using them effectively in conversation. So, let's keep moving forward and enhance your fluency even more. Continuing our course, we now turn our attention to some effective memorization tips that will help reinforce what we've learned about the verb to be. Remember how crucial it is to express yourself clearly and confidently in English? Well, these strategies will support you in that journey. First, let's discuss a mnemonic that can make recalling the forms of to be easier. I, his, what. This stands for I am, you are, he, she, it is, we, they are. By breaking it down this way, you create a simple phrase that can stick in your mind. Try saying it out loud a few times. Notice how it organizes the information and makes it easier to remember. Another effective method is using colorful flashcards. You can assign a specific color to each pronoun. For example, you might choose blue for I, red for you, and so on. This visual association not only makes learning more fun, but it also helps your brain create connections that enhance memory retention. It's interesting to observe how our brains often remember colors better than words alone. Additionally, practice speaking these forms out loud, ideally in front of a mirror. This technique helps you combine pronunciation with the visual of your mouth forming the words. As you repeat phrases like, I am happy, or they are friends, you reinforce both the grammar and the sound, making it easier to recall when you need to use them in conversation. These strategies can transform your learning experience, making it engaging and effective. As we move forward, we'll explore digital tools that can further support your learning of to be and other essential English concepts. So, let's keep building our skills together. Now that we've explored effective memorization strategies, let's shift our focus to some digital tools that can further enhance your learning of the verb to be. These resources are fantastic because they allow you to study anytime and anywhere, making your practice more flexible and engaging. First up is Quizlet. This platform offers ready-made decks specifically for to be, complete with native audio. Imagine being able to hear how a native speaker pronounces each form while you study. This exposure not only helps you with pronunciation, but also reinforces your understanding through spaced repetition. This technique is powerful because it helps you remember information over longer periods, making your learning stick. Have you ever noticed how repeating something at intervals can make it easier to recall later? That's exactly what Quizlet does. Next, we have Duolingo Stories. This tool is excellent for interactive practice as it presents questions and answers in real-life contexts using to be. You'll find yourself immersed in engaging stories, which not only makes learning fun, but also shows you how to use to be in everyday conversations. Think about how much easier it is to remember things when they're part of an interesting narrative. Lastly, let's not forget about YouTube. Channels like BBC Learning English provide free lessons filled with authentic examples. Watching these videos allows you to see and hear how to be is used naturally in various situations. It's interesting to observe how authentic content can deepen your understanding and make learning feel more relevant. As you explore these digital tools, consider how they can complement what we've learned so far. In our upcoming slides, we'll have a quick assessment to test your knowledge, so keep these resources in mind as you continue your journey. Let's move on to the next step. Moving forward in our journey, it's time for a quick assessment to reinforce everything we've learned about the verb to be. This exercise will help you apply your knowledge in a practical way, so let's dive in. I have 3 rapid-fire questions for you. Think of these as a fun way to test your understanding. For each question, you'll respond with either a yes or no answer. And remember, we are focusing on those clear, concise responses we've discussed. First, let's look at the question, are they students? You would respond with either yes they are or no they aren't. Notice how this structure mirrors what we practiced earlier about forming affirmative and negative statements. This is a perfect example of applying your knowledge in real time. Next, consider the question, is she at home? Again, your answers would be, yes she is, or no she isn't. This not only checks your understanding of the subject-verb agreement, but also emphasizes the importance of clarity in your responses. Lastly, we have the question, am I your teacher? Here, your answers would be, yes you are, or no, you aren't. It's interesting to observe how each of these questions is structured similarly, allowing you to see the patterns we've discussed throughout the course. One crucial note is that in short affirmative responses, we don't use contractions. So, for example, instead of saying, yes, I'm, you should say, yes, I am. This is a small detail, but it's essential to maintain clarity. As we finish this quick assessment, think about how these questions reflect the concepts we've practiced. In our next slide, we will summarize the key points we've covered, tying everything together nicely. So, let's keep building on this knowledge. Now that we've just completed our quick assessment, let's take a moment to summarize the key points we've discussed throughout this course about the verb to be. This recap is important because it will help reinforce your understanding and prepare you for what's coming next. First, let's talk about the affirmative form. We learned that we say, I am, you are, and he, she, it is. These phrases are the building blocks of communication. Think about how often you introduce yourself or describe someone else. For example, when you say, I am excited, or she is a doctor, you're using these forms to convey essential information. Next, we covered the negative form. Remember how we can add not to create negative statements? For instance, I am not, or he is not. which we often shorten to isn't or aren't. This simple change allows you to express what is not true, which is just as important as stating what is. Consider how you might clarify misunderstandings by saying, I am not ready, or they aren't here. We also discussed the interrogative form. This is where we invert the verb and pronoun, such as in, are you happy? Or, is he your friend? Asking questions is a key part of conversation, and using the right structure helps you engage more effectively. Notice how these forms flow naturally into dialogue. To master these concepts, it's crucial to practice combining the pronoun with to be in all three forms. The more comfortable you become with these structures, the more confident you will sound in any conversation. As we look ahead to our final slide, we'll introduce the next topic, the present continuous tense. This will build on what we've learned about to be and expand your ability to express actions happening right now. So let's keep this momentum going. As we wrap up our course on the verb to be, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've learned together. We began with the importance of mastering to be, which is a crucial building block for communication in English. We explored personal pronouns and how they connect with to be to form clear statements, whether affirmative, negative, or interrogative. Recall how saying, I am a student, or they are not here, helps convey meaning effectively. You practiced transforming sentences and learned to ask questions like, are you ready? These skills are essential for everyday conversations, and I hope you feel more confident using them in your daily life. I want to sincerely thank you for your commitment and participation throughout this course. Your dedication to learning is commendable, and I encourage you to continue practicing. Remember, reviewing the material will reinforce your understanding and help you apply what you've learned. Looking ahead, I'm excited to introduce the next step in our journey, the present continuous tense. This will build on your knowledge of to be by combining it with action verbs in the ing form, allowing you to express actions happening right now. It's a natural progression that will enrich your ability to communicate effectively. As a task, I invite you to practice creating sentences with your peers. Write 5 affirmative statements, 5 negatives, and 5 questions about your daily life. This practice will solidify your skills and make learning feel relevant and engaging. Congratulations on completing this course. You've taken a significant step in your English learning journey. Keep up the great work, and remember, every effort counts. I'm excited for you to continue exploring and improving your language skills. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next session.